Welcome to Being Confident from Within with Natalie Potts, the podcast that shares what it really takes to be confident. I'm passionate about helping people grow businesses with confidence. Does it seem like everyone around you is naturally confident and sure of themselves? Well, the chances are they have self-doubts just like you. I'm in conversations with inspiring individuals to share what confidence means to them and to help you find ways to believe in yourself and create confidence at any time. Thank you so much for joining me. It's always a pleasure to be in your company because we always bounce so well off of one another, don't we? And we've done lots of different things in the past before, but it's great to have you on for sharing your thoughts around confidence. And I'm really interested in seeing, guys' perspective on lots as well. I've got a few guys coming on, but it always feels a little bit more of a vulnerability area, or that we've got to put a defense up as such, but that we'll explore. So share with everybody who you are and what you do.
Yeah, so my business at the moment in terms of the business mentoring is helping fitness coaches start and grow their business. For some of the guys, they're at a stage where I'm helping them scale, but that comes from being a coach for 14 plus years, fully booked on the gym floor, moved online, got over 100 clients online, and then naturally start speaking to people. And I just kind of found my way into the mentorship space. In terms of the other stuff I do, I also have a fitness business that is still running, and I've got some coaches that work within the fitness business, and I'm still very heavily involved in that as well. So yeah, two businesses split at the moment, and predominantly, much like Natalie yourself, helping people with mindset, sales, marketing, business, all the stuff they need to be successful.
And also an amazing dad, husband, and friend.
Well, if they could see the video, they'd see I'm absolutely knackered right now. I'm running off. I think I've had 3 hours sleep on the bounce for the past 8 nights in a row. So yeah, good job. This is just audio, as far as Natalie told me anyway.
Good. Well, look, thank you for sharing that. So let's jump straight into it. Share what confidence means to you.
I think that confidence for me starts with courage. I think people really get it all wrong. They think that some people are confident and some people aren't. And much like being good at selling and being good at anything really, I think it's all about skill acquisition. So my thoughts on confidence are, you have levels and it's a sliding scale. And some people might be born at a 5 out of 10. Some people might be born at a 2 out of 10. Some people's parents, like mine, like yours, probably Natalie, are more inclined to kind of be a bit more extrovert and would push us to do things that made us more confident or challenge us at a much earlier age. But again, that just all comes with courage, because it's being courageous enough to do that first thing. And what I always say to people when I speak to them is, the only way you're going to get better at anything, like with reps in the gym or content, on your Instagram, is just doing it more. So the more often you can put yourself out your comfort zone, as cheesy as it sounds,
yeah,
it's true. So I appreciate that some people are just naturally more confident through the way that either nature or nurture, but I do believe that everyone can get more confident because it is a sliding scale, in my opinion.
Great. So I just want to pull you on one thing there, though. You shared that sometimes some people are born a 2 and some people are born a 5. Aren't we all born the same? And then it's exactly like you shared, it's our influences, beliefs, environments that really start to sculpt that and create that in us for confidence.
I don't know. I think that we're all wired differently. Yes, on a basic level, we all have heart and lungs, and our brain functions in similar ways, but there's also things that we are wired differently in terms of some people are early risers. That's been proven through studies. Some people are night owls, and I also, without having the studies here, but I will definitely go away and look into this, is I wouldn't be surprised there's studies out there that say that some people, parts of their brains that make them more confident are probably more developed than others. I do not believe at birth they're all set in the same way. And I do agree, though, or whether or not you were suggesting this, I would agree with someone if they said that actually it's more about the nurture, because the story I always tell, and I've probably said to you 100 times, is my parents would always be like, if you want something, you go and ask the man, you go and ask the lady. If you want a chocolate bar, go and ask the man. I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
So obviously that was helpful, and my parents are both very confident, extroverted people. But I do think, I do think there's probably people that are just naturally that way more inclined in the beginning. Because if you're always been wired to be more like that, there's a reason why even at a toddler stage you see some kids just take the reins and they put their hand up to be the Mary in the school nativity. And I think that there's got to be something in that. And I've seen it in quiet parents. Their kids are just randomly way more confident. And it's like, where does that come from then? If it's not something already built in.
Yeah, it's just great because I've had so many different conversations over this week around this, and it's this is why I love it, because I'm very open-minded, and I just want to hear where that comes from for people, and like you say, it would be really interesting to see, are there parts of the brains that make you think that, and then how you built the rationale behind that in terms of the nurture our parents. And yeah, I can draw my cousin's little one last week. She's a bolshy little thing. She's 18 months. That's not massively come off of the influence of parents and behaviours at that age, I don't think. No, you're right. So
she is your niece though.
Yeah,
we do have to bear that in mind.
yeah, I know. I do. Sometimes when my niece does stuff as well, and she's sassy, and then I just think, wow, yeah. You said this phrase a lot, and I love it, and I use it a lot at the moment as well. Naturally confident, and I would say, I'd be bold enough to say we are both very naturally confident individuals from someone else's perspective, aren't we? I mean, you very much are. I'd also like to add with that, though, I think we've got we do have great personalities, don't we? Because I always say that about you. You have a phenomenal personality, and you own the room and have purpose when I've seen you in the gym and everything. Build on this idea of natural confidence more, and where you see this in others.
Yeah, I think that, again, it's just being clear to anyone listening and remind them, even at this point, that it is something you can get better at, or how we want to phrase it, like you can get more confident. And I think it's just not residing to the fact of like, oh, some people are just naturally more confident, some people aren't. And if I'm one of the ones that isn't, I'm going to stay in my box and this is where I'm set for life. I think it's that you just accept that if you are that way more inclined, and you don't naturally be the big guy in the room, and there are negatives to being like that, because people think you're a dick, or people think that you're arrogant, and so it can go the other way.
Yeah.
But I think it's you just accept that, go, all right, well, if I'm not like that, in the same way, if you're not naturally good at selling or naturally good at anything, you just accept that you've got to put in that little bit more graft than someone else.
Yeah.
But trust the process, and if you hang around with the right people, like your network is everything, go and spend more time around confident people, and it will rub off on you. Because if your parents who are more confident like mine, it's rubbed off on me. Likewise, go and surround yourself in a circle of confident people, and you will naturally, that will rub off on you. So I just be careful that you don't, whatever you regard as being naturally a certain way, and don't ever just feed into that too much. Like me being like, oh, I'm just naturally more anxious than other people. Are you? Or again, is that a nurture thing because your mum's quite anxious? So maybe and you spent a lot of time around your mum. So actually, yes, you might be naturally more anxious, but you can do the work. Like we can all do the work.
Absolutely. And I was sharing it with my coach earlier today, that it's a narrative you tell yourself, right?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's and the more time and attention you put on something, and likewise, if you put a spotlight on the crap in your life and the negative and how it's all going to fail and it's all going to go wrong one day, well, you are by definition making that more likely to happen. And likewise, if you flip that on its head and say, I am a confident person, and don't get me wrong, I think the manifestation stuff gets taken too literally from time to time, but I do really like that mentality and the mantras of, fuck it, I am a confident person, and I will be more confident this time next year, and I am going to pursue this, and I am going to take the action. So yeah, I think just don't feed into, sometimes we can feed into our own bullshit. Like we always think we're so busy, or we always think that woe is me, or things like this. You and I both do it all the time. And then we have to pull each other up on it, or ourselves, and go, actually, there's a lot more in your control than you're giving yourself credit for. So just go and do the stuff you need to do.
No one swears on my podcast, yeah? I'm only joking. I love how you're just very, very natural.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, well, you have to edit that about, mate.
Somebody said yesterday, having a fuck it moment as well, and then they were saying, don't be scared. You just go fuck it and go for it. And because I shared this idea that if it was your life, and this sounds a bit woo-woo, but I often sometimes think when I'm nervous on something, I'm like, nah. If it was the last day of your life, or you didn't know if tomorrow was going to come, what would you do? And then half the time I just think I'd fucking go into it and just do it. So there has to be an element of, like, just do it.
Yeah, 100%. I think otherwise, like, back to this confidence thing, right? I've got one of my clients at the moment, and people listening, like, message us if you can relate, or leave a comment or something. But do you ever feel like that you are going to put your face on camera, right, creating content, if you ever say anything like pre faced with the phrase "I'm going to do it when," you are just bullshitting yourself, okay? If I look back and go, look at all the things in my life that have been successful and that have been that I'm happy and proud of, even things I'm experiencing right now, I would have always at one point said, when this happens, I'll do this thing. And I always look back and think that was bullshit, and I should have just started sooner, because there is only one way to find now, and it is just cracking on. So I'm sure people can relate to this. And again, I know it's easier said than done, but honestly, just you just got to throw yourself in there. It is the only way.
Yeah. What areas of your life do you want to build confidence?
Good question. So I much like yourself, like, I want to go onto the big stages. I want to, I see myself public speaking to like the masses in the next sort of like 5 to 10 years. Like it's less of a if thing. It's just more of a matter of time. I'm that confident. And I know I'll be absolutely bricking it, and I will need to home in on those skills of the bigger public speaking stuff, slowing down, calming down my heart rate and my breathing, all the technical stuff. But again, I trust that there's someone out there who's going to teach me how to do it, because there'll be a course for it, there'll be a mentor for it. I'll suck it up, I'll pay the money. Like you and I both, we invest heavily in our mentorship. We know that if we want to get good at something, we just find someone who's already good at it, and we just pay them and just save years and thousands on doing so. So my thing on that is, for anyone listening who's in a similar position, I would just say, much like myself, if there's an area you want to get more confident at, just go and find someone who already has the confidence and go and hang around with them. Either befriend them or pay them. That's it. But sorry, to answer your question, big public speaking will be something I really I know I'll need to level up 100%.
What's really interesting, I'm about to go on holiday tomorrow, and I'm taking the book, I think it's Secrets, TED Secrets, whatever it is, because at the moment I know it's probably maybe 3 to 5 years down the road. It might be less than that, but I've got to, like you, I've got to understand right at the bottom what is that, and just by reading that book and just find out a little bit more will take me another step to down another avenue, path, whatever, and then I'll do something else, and I'll just continue to build on it, chip away. Then at some point I'll probably invest in somebody in terms of tonality, like you said, learning how to speak, the techniques, everything behind that. But that's just not overnight. It takes time, and I've got to start that process. So that's an attitude and a mindset, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think a lot of people who will be listening to this, much like us, will have values of caring about their health and fitness as well. And they'll know the parallels of training. You want to build a muscle, you go and do the same boring exercises every week, and it can be boring and tedious, it can be scary, but the parallels are that it's the same as flexing your confidence muscle. Like it's the same thing. And who's to say, if I stopped doing my video content, and if I stopped hosting webinars, and you and I stopped doing things like this, maybe my confidence thing would drop a little bit. It definitely would. So just do the opposite and just keep flexing it. And you want bigger biceps, you train them more often. You want to increase your confidence muscle, do it more often. And I think Natalie and I, we both have the same thing. Every time we go to a big event, half the time we spend making notes about the learnings, and half the time we're making notes about the way that the speaker is carrying themselves and the little things they're doing in the room. And I think that's something to take away, and not many people think like that. So the next time you're hanging around with someone who's super confident, get your notepad out and go, shit, how do they hold themselves? How do they stand? What are they wearing? How do they breathe? Like it sounds a bit weird, but it works.
Look, in my mastermind, I'm on at the moment with some people, I've been to the odd day things, and they're like, why'd you go? And I was like, because I'm watching the room. I'm watching how they do every little detail. I'm watching how they respond to people, how people respond to them, how they set up the room, how they set up the whole, all of their content. I said, every little detail I'm looking at. I said, and that's why I invest in that. It's
you can do that on a micro level, right? A much smaller level. You can literally go scroll your Instagram feed, find someone you perceive as confident or more confident than you. And bear in mind that we said at the beginning of this, there's levels to this, right? So it doesn't need to be, you don't need to learn from Will Smith's confidence or Tony Robbins' confidence. You could just go and look at, like, if you're a PT listening to this in the gym, right, and you're new, go and find the most busy PT in your gym and look at what are they doing that maybe you're not, or things that you could be doing as well, and go from a level 1 to a level 3, and then go and surpass that guy or girl, and then take it up a notch. You don't have to go straight to, like, I'm not looking at Tony Robbins doing a talk to 10,000 people. I'm trying to learn from people who are commanding the room of, say, 100 people, and then I can work my way up.
Yeah, it's great advice. Who do you know that has a type of confidence you would like to have? I'm interested if there's anyone on that one.
No one specifically. Like, I just guess I'm always so impressed by anyone that, you know, commands a room to, you know, those big stages, like, on any level. Comedians who do it great, obviously. Like, I think that they've got the toughest gig. You know, trying to make people laugh is a tough gig. And I think obviously your public speakers and stuff, but I don't necessarily have anyone that, like, massively stands out. Obviously the classics of, like, a Tony Robbins and people like that obviously do spring to mind. But I just think that for me, I know how scary it is. I did a webinar last week to, like, 62 personal trainers on Zoom. And even then I got a bit anxious, and naturally so. And I suddenly thought, shit, imagine all these guys were in the room. I wonder how I'd feel then. And so I just really appreciate other people out there doing that sort of stuff. And it takes guts. But I think ultimately, when I run through this filter in my head of, like, what's the worst case scenario, it's never that deep. And I think that really helps me. I always just go, well, what's the worst case scenario? Like, if it's not death, it's really not that deep. Like, that's really it to me. It's like, nothing bad is going to happen, really. Like, it really isn't. And more often than not, people are just impressed and happy that you're the guy up there speaking. Because if you said to anyone in the crowd that you're feeling nervous about speaking to, hey, do you want to jump up in there and trade places? They'd all go, hell no. So you know you're good.
I agree. Last one. Who's been your best mentor and why?
Oh, mate, that is so tough. Okay, without pausing to, like, I've had so many, right, for different areas of my life. And I think just to kind of be clear to people who, when they think of mentor, they think that I'm going to say, like, someone I paid money to. But, like, I'm thinking of my dad, my brother, even like yourself, like my good friends, mentors. Like, that is a really tough one. One of the ones, actually, I'll throw a little curveball out, is funny story. I actually joined David Lloyd as a self-employed personal trainer, 0 clients. I walk in, I think on my second day, I look at the cross trainer and I see my old maths teacher at school we had a great relationship with. Bowled straight up to him, confident, bold, and said, oh, you can be my first client. 9 years later, still my client. And along that way, he mentored me every step of the way. So every time I increased my prices, I kept him on, like, a loyalty rate, because I was getting way more from him than the financial return, right? And so yeah, his name's Craig. Shout out to Craig. But yeah, massive mentor just through everything in life. Like, and you know, nothing at all to do with the fitness space, but he just had such wisdom. And I think when you have that much respect for someone, I think mentorship's all about respect. If you lose respect, it's done. But for as long as you respect someone on a high level, they can tell you the same thing that your partner's been telling you for weeks or even months. But when it sits differently, when they're respect level, not that I don't respect my partner, but it sits differently when you have that respect for them in their field. So yeah, I think that answers that. Great.
I love it. Where can people find you and connect with you?
Fitness coaches, head to Fully Booked Coach. And for, like, people that are just interested in, like, personal development, business mindset, my full name, Daniel Poulter, is my Instagram. And yeah, either or both, head over there and hit me a follow.
Thank you so much for your time.
Yeah, my pleasure.
Thank you for listening to Being Confident from Within. I hope you enjoyed today's episode and it inspired you in trusting no matter what happens in any particular situation, you'll be able to handle it and learn from the outcome. I really love hearing from you, so please leave a review and let me know which part of the episode resonated with you the most. Have an amazing day.